Hey, good morning. Yay, we did it. We made it to this moment. It's this moment in music. My name's Hal Walker. I'm your host. Thanks for being here. I wonder how much longer I'll be able to do these intros outside. I'm gonna make it last as long as possible. Yeah. This moment in music. My guest is Chris Novy, my old friend from the early 90s and the late 80s. Dudes, we're in for just a time of reminiscing and thinking about inventing music and inventing musical instruments. Chris is an inventor and a musician. And this is my cat, Willie. All right, everyone, see you in a minute. Thanks for being here. Use the comments section freely. Let's connect. See you in a minute. Bye. Hey, yes, it's this moment in music. Yay, we're here. We made it. It's Friday. And I think this is like episode 57. Can you believe it? I remember episode 1. It seems like just yesterday. 57 episodes. Thanks so much for being here. Kiki-san, welcome. Helko. Helko, Kiki-san. I'm so glad you're here. I think that must have been a typo. But I'm Hal Walker. It's this moment in music, and every day I show up with an idea. And this morning, here's my idea. Chris Novy sent me a really cool banjo piece in clawhammer style, and I started playing around with it. You know, I brought it into Ableton, which is the digital audio workstation I work on, and I just started playing with ideas. I added some piano. I added some couple of harmonicas, 3 harmonicas. I added 3 harmonicas and 3 vocals, and it was quite enjoyable. But here's the big thing for me with these shows. Hey, Rebecca, so top of the morning to you as well. With these shows, I got to keep coming up with new ideas, but I never have time to actually finish the ideas. Like the real challenge for a creative like myself is to take that thing I did today, that little 90-second thing that was quite enjoyable, and it was fun piecing it together, and I had some cool ideas, but what would it be like to actually make that a finished product? But for the meantime, I'm just pumping it out. You know, every Wednesday and Friday, I'm pumping something out, and maybe someday I'll take the time and go back and review it all. So that's my idea, is how do you as a creative actually finish a project when there's always the next deadline? Same thing with church on Sunday morning. I'm the music director of a church, and every Sunday I got to show up with more ideas, and the choir's got to be ready. And whether it's done or not, we show up and we do it. So I'd be interested in hearing any feedback about that. Is what's the difference between just coming up with new ideas, more new ideas, and going on and actually finishing an idea. So that's my idea for the morning. And I want to play this little thing that I came up with. Chris Novy playing the banjo, and I added a bunch of stuff. And it's on a song called I can't remember. Chris, what's that song called? Grandma. We'll talk in a second. Here it is. Logo. Mother Logo. Something like that. Here she is. Oh, Mother Logo, she likes wine. Oh, Mother Logo, she got drunk, crossed the river on a pumpkin vine. she had children. Oh, Mother Logo, she had three. Oh, Mother Logo, she had children. One of them looked just like me. Oh, the death of my poor children. Oh, the death that they did die. One got drunk and the other one drowned. One got choked on a pumpkin vine. Yes, yes. Chris, where are you? Here you are. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man. That was awesome.
I love that. I love that groove. It's like I just want to sit here all day and go.
Yeah.
That clawhammer rhythm. That clawhammer.
Yeah, man. That's like totally got me into why play the clawhammer banjo when you already play a really obnoxious instrument like the drums, But I would watch people play clawhammer banjo, and you're seeing all this bizarre motion, and you're hearing sounds that just don't connect to what you're seeing, and it totally flipped me out, and I had to jump in and figure it out and learn it.
Do you have a banjo in your hand right now?
Yeah, I do actually.
Would you I'm going to give you the full screen. Just show us a little bit what you're talking about, so we can see that clawhammer banjo, and bring the camera so we can see your right hand. That's really an important thing to see. Everyone, check this out.
Yeah, and I'm no expert banjo player. There are so many amazing banjo players out in this world, and I took a couple lessons and listened to CDs endlessly. By my one pal Bob Smakula, I basically memorized the CD that he played, and what he told me is that his dad taught him is what a clawhammer banjo player is supposed to do is he's supposed to match the fiddler note for note, and I would never be able to do that, but it's like what you shoot for. So that said, so anyway, it's a 5-string banjo. With clawhammer, you can tune it in a billion different ways. But this is basically G tuning, which is pretty standard. So what's going on? Your thumb's riding on the 5th string, and you're picking down with either index or middle finger. I started out more like index, but it's really like the middle finger is what I sort of gravitated to. So anyway, I'll just play some. I believe this is called Chilly Winds. Yeah. So anyway, that's a
Chris,
really shaky.
Don't stop. I love it so much. It's so satisfying. It's like I could just zone out on that. I could zone out on that sound for a long time. It just nod in my head.
And that's what happens when you're playing it. When it takes me forever to learn a tune. I got to just do it note by note over and over and over again. But when you finally get a good tune under your fingers, you just want to play it, And
play
all of a sudden,
that one for another couple of minutes so I can just nod in my head.
Okay. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll play some of that, and then I'll let it flow into there's another tune. I forget what it's called, but it's got this really cool. You know what I'm gonna do? No, I'm not gonna change tunings. That'll be a nightmare.
Don't change tunings. Everybody, I just want to invite everyone to get in kind of a hunched over position and just zone out for a minute. Yeah, that was cool, Chris. I love it. That's really
Yeah,
nice.
cool. Yeah, it's an entire world,
You know, the sound I love it so much is those wet strings. It's like they're mushy almost. It's like they're gut strings. It's like they're almost
Yeah, that's
liquid
right.
sounding, you know?
And you don't think they'd put out so much sound, but they, once you kind of get the feel for them and don't overplay them, which I tend to do, you just let them kind of sing, and the sound really comes out. And I mean, like just listen, beautiful tone.
It's like
Yeah, I dig it.
sweet.
I totally dig it.
Well, Chris, I want to find out more about. Whenever I see you post stuff on Facebook, you're doing stuff in your basement, creating weird things. Like, for instance, I've seen you piecing together electronic devices and creating
Yeah.
symbols. And why don't you show us that kind of thing you've been working on lately?
What the crashers? Is that what you're talking
Yeah, the
about?
the crasher lasagnas.
Yeah, yeah. This is the first one I made. It's as raw and as crude as it gets, and I just love it.
Wow.
And
That
I
thing
haven't
is
changed
ugly.
it. Yeah, it's ugly good, man.
It's
With all
ugly
the-
good. Look at
I
that.
took a chisel to it and just started bashing at it. There's like a fine art of like hammering cymbals, and then there's what I was doing to it.
That's
But anyway,
nice.
it was an old ride cymbal and a hi-hat cymbal that I'd seen somebody making their own. I says, well, sure, I can make my own. So I did, and I've been playing it out probably for 2 years now, and it's just become a part of my setup when I play drums.
Chris,
And
I'm going to turn your
you-
volume down a minute and see if you can play a little bit on that. I mean, it's good while you're
Okay.
talking, but I want to hear that thing.
All right. So anyway, I'll give you some sticks. It's called a ribbon crasher, and I guess I call them layers, but some people call them ribbons. It's just the layers of the brass. And it's somewhere like, when you're playing the hi-hats on a set of drums, it's somewhere between that and a tambourine, like a sloppy tambourine or loose hi-hats. But it's really cool because it's a sound that you can go to when you're playing a kit to just change it up. You get sick of hearing hi-hats, or you get sick of hearing rides, or just you want contrast. So it's just a great color to add in. And so this kind of launched me into making them for sale. And a band I play in called Ohio Valley Salvage, the bass player, we were in a rehearsal, and I was playing on it, and I got off of it too soon, and I went back to a cymbal. He's like, hey, man, give me some more of that brass lasagna. And so he named it, and it'll be that forever and ever. So thank you, Ben Franks, for naming these things. And
Go look for
Go ahead.
brass. Go look for brass lasagna on Instagram, everybody. I followed you last night, Chris.
yeah, I noticed that. That's cool. Yeah, there's I don't know, I think I've made about 15 or so of them, and there's demos of them, and you can see just how much variation is available to you just with the different shapes and sections that you can cut out of a cymbal and different thicknesses. I cut little, jingles out of them. It's kind of endless. It's kind of right up my alley.
Nice.
I can't stop it.
Well, one of the cool things I love, I mean, I'm not a drummer, but one of the things I'm interested in the drummer experience is you have all these choices in front of you, like a set in front of you, including the brass lasagna over here, the tom-toms here, the snare here, and the decisions you're making, which I imagine eventually come naturally. But like there's so many choices. And how do you, I guess kind of like a piano, you have 88 choices. But so...
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, for me, like, I take advantage of all the choices too often, and it's like it's a
right.
never-ending struggle of most drummers is just to like play the most basic simple thing.
Do less. Yes.
Do less, play less, and just give the band what the band needs, which is time and really good feel. That's really what a drummer needs to do, and what'll keep you in a band.
Nice.
So And then once you know, it's like I'll play something, it's like, yeah, that was the coolest thing in the world, and I listen back and it's like, that was just an absolute mess, you know. And then when you play like the simplest thing, you're like, oh man, that was just lame, and then you listen to it and you're like, no, that's right where the groove needs to be.
Well,
So
you are a veteran. You are a veteran behind the set. I mean, I remember back in 1988, seeing you down at JB's with what's the legendary band?
what, with my brother? And
Yeah, with your brother. What was the name?
yeah, it was Jasmine Express.
Jasmine
That's what we were
Express.
called.
Yeah, right.
And you won't believe there's like a whole bunch of texts going around with everybody in the band. Like everyone's trying to get in the handle on Audacity to like record tracks and throw some tracks around. So the band still exists.
All right. Well, why don't you lay a groove down? The other thing I love about drummers is like how many different grooves are there to choose from? And like, what's when you sit down at a drum set, is there one groove that always you sort of fall into, or?
Well, just to like get a feel for where the drums are. I don't know. It's some kind of something. There's I'll just play some.
Okay, and maybe I'll join in on the piano if you get something going.
Yeah, there's I'm gonna play with brushes so I don't kind of kill.
Can we see it? Bring the camera down just a little so we can see more of the brushes. Yeah, that's cool.
Is that a good angle?
That's nice. Yeah, that's excellent.
Get some of that brass lasagna in there. All right. So anyway, yeah.
That was cool. Chris, were you hearing us?
Yeah, that same weird kind of delay thing's going on. So I hear you. I have to hear you, but I just kind of have to tune you out a little bit to keep going.
For a minute there, we were actually grooving, Chris. We were actually in the pocket.
All the work we've done,
here's what I'm.
It's finally paying off.
The more precise I was, the better. Yay! It's tough times. These are tough times during the COVID. We got to play across, but what a beautiful thing it is that we get to make music through the little tube.
It's fun.
So Chris, I want to tell the story of this guitar that we traveled across the country with.
Yeah, man.
Chris and I, it was 1990, and I had a job at a summer camp in Vermont, and Chris and I was going to ride my bike. I decided I would ride my bike to my job, and Chris and I invited Chris, I guess.
Yeah, that's how it went.
That's how it went.
Yeah,
Chris
you said,
hey,
sure.
Man,
do you want to ride to Vermont on your bike with me for a couple
and
weeks?
He said sure. But the cool thing, tell them about how. Would you like to tell the story about meeting Warren in Ithaca?
Oh man,
do you remember the story?
Oh yeah, man. Well, the thing is, I think everybody needs to just realize this is before the days of internet and before the days of cell phone.
Yes.
So before we even left, we got on our bikes in the middle of May, and I think by the end of the May we got to Vermont. and we agreed with Warren and Sarah that we're going to meet you at a coffee shop in Ithaca, New York, on this Sunday morning, and that was it. And
Yeah, it was
and
10.
off we went.
Right. I think we said
Yeah.
in 10 days. In 10 days, we'll see you at a coffee shop in Ithaca. Just find a cool coffee shop in Ithaca.
Yeah, and that was it. That was all the outline we had. And then from that point, you know.
Oh, by the way, they were riding their bikes from Philadelphia. So they were in Philly. We were in Ohio. We were going to meet in 10 days in Ithaca at a coffee shop.
Yeah, and you know, we jumped on our bikes in Kent, and I think we almost made it out of Ohio the first night. Made a couple more nights, and we stopped in Pennsylvania. The one story I think you need to tell, because it was when it was Titusville. Was it New York?
Oh.
It was getting late. We couldn't find a camp spot. We pulled into like a gas station. You're like, you know what? I'm just going to go ask somebody for directions to a campground. You went inside, and the woman behind the counter, you know, she looked outside. She saw me, you know, standing guard on our bikes, and she's like, "What are you guys doing?" And she said, "You know what? You're going to come and camp in our backyard." And you're like, "Okay." And she gave you the address, didn't write it down, and you're trying to remember like 429 Elm Street or whatever. And you come outside. And by that time, this old gentleman who's pumping gas comes over, and he sees the bikes, and he's chatting me up and this and that. "You guys are doing the most wonderful thing. This is fantastic." And then he starts saying that he was famous for something, and to look him up in Ripley's Believe It or Not. And by this time, you had come up, and you're sitting there trying your best just to remember the street address so we have a place to camp. And this guy is going on and on about Ripley's Believe It or Not. And we finally like, "Okay, sir, yeah, we'll look you up." And then we went down the street, and they were the most incredible people. They just welcomed us into their house, and
Nice.
we camped in their backyard. And then, but I think through the night it started raining, and we had to leave Titusville for the next stop at my pal Mark's place. And it rained all day long. We were like soaked to the bone the whole day. And then we had to go up this dirt road up to where my buddy's place was. And I remember you were like, "Chris, I think I've got hypothermia." And you start reciting the circle of fifths, and you start reciting, you know, like every once in a while, "Chris, just ask me my name."
Chris, you have a much better memory than me. That was 30 years ago.
But that particular of the days, that one particular day with the Ripley's guy. But
well, what happened with Warren and Sarah was that we were.
Oh yeah, I got way off track. You finished it.
We spent the night up on top of a mountain overlooking Ithaca, and we rode. It was a beautiful day. We rode our bikes downhill into Ithaca. We showed up at a coffee shop at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and within 10 minutes, Chris and Sarah pulled up on their bikes from Philadelphia.
Yeah, Warren and Sarah.
Yeah, Warren and Sarah. So that was amazing.
Yeah. We turned around and there they were.
But the whole point of the story is Chris brought a guitar with him, and I want everyone to see the guitar now. So Chris, would you break out that guitar? This is Chris's handmade guitar, and
it's the box guitar. Yeah,
it's a box guitar. Let me see. I'll give you the full screen here.
Yeah. What it was you can see the name. It was an old Harmony archtop guitar that my dad bought for my brother and I, for my cousin. And great guitar, it's like the best first guitar in the world. And my brother was playing it on the back porch, and a bee came flying at him, and he like flinched to get out of the way of the bee, and the guitar flew out of his hands and broke in half. So anyway, I took the neck, and I just figured I can build a little dovetail joint out of a piece of wood. So I did, and the rest I just, whatever wood my dad had laying around in his workshop, I turned around and made a body for it. So then, we're going on this bike trip. We figured, well, we got to bring a guitar. So this is the likely candidate. So yes. I created a pin that stuck up out of the fork with like a nail, and there's this hole on the bottom right there, and that set down on the pin, hanging off the forks, and that supported the weight. And then we had a little bike rack where I had camping gear and whatnot, and then I made this little hook that hooked right over the edge of the bike rack.
Yes.
Sat there, and then to hold it fast, there was like a I put a little screw eye in there
Uh-huh.
with a spring and a hook. And once that was in there, it held it tight. It didn't bounce or move, except like the very last hill, like going down to Farm and Wilderness Camp. It was like a dirt hill, whereas every other road we were coming down was all paved. But it was still as steep and long as every other hill in upstate New York in that part of the world. And I remember the bike just was like riding a horse. It was bouncing all over the place, and the guitar started to bust loose, but it didn't fall off.
Well, Chris,
but anyway,
we're running out of time.
Cool
let's hear that thing. Does it actually make a sound still?
Sure, it does. Yeah, let me crank up some volume.
Okay.
It had a pickup on it that's at my buddy Nick Fryer's place. He's a pickup maker. He's matching it, so soon it'll be back. But anyway, let's see if
we have just about time for a 1 minute little sound. Chris Novy, everybody.
It still plays, man.
That thing takes some strength and some calluses.
Yeah, you could
awesome.
You could walk a herd of cats under those strings, man.
Well, Chris, thanks for being my guest today. It's been fun hanging out with you. I appreciate your approach. I love the clawhammer. I want to play clawhammer. I love it so much.
The world would be a better place if everybody played clawhammer banjo.
So everyone, Chris Novy from Cincinnati, stick around. I'll say hi to you afterwards. But everyone, on Wednesday we've got another show. I think it's almost 59 is next Wednesday, and my guest is Ben Mather, and I want to play a little something by Ben here. And Chris, thanks again, man. Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me, Hal. It was a blast.
Right, buddy.
Take it easy.
Here's Ben Mather. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks, Rebecca. She says, thanks for sharing your friend with us. You're welcome. Chris is one of the treasures of Ohio. Hey, thanks to all my patrons on Patreon. I appreciate you guys coming by and hanging out with us. Episode 59 is next Wednesday. And we always end with this song. It goes like this. You've got a light inside you. Go on your way in peace. So shine that light, the light inside you. Go on your way in peace. The world is waiting in the hope of another day. She will carry you safely through the stumbles and the falls on your way. Just remember that I'm loving you and you're loving me. So as you go, won't you go on your way now in peace? Yes, as you go, won't you go on your way now in peace? Have a great day, everybody. Have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Bye-bye.